Tonight we take the slow road across the Roman world. Not the fastest road. Not the loudest road. The steady road. The kind that outlasts generations. Roman roads were not famous because they were beautiful. They were famous because they worked. In rain. In heat. In hills. Under carts, armies, merchants, and ordinary travelers. They worked because they were planned with patience and built with systems. So settle in. Breathe slowly. And imagine a lantern-lit journey across stone, gravel, and packed earth through a network that connected cities, farms, forts, and ports for centuries. Roads were power. Roads were administration. Roads were supply chains long before the term existed. When Rome expanded, distance became a problem. Orders had to travel. Taxes had to move. Grain had to arrive. Troops had to redeploy. A city could not govern a wide territory with muddy tracks that vanished in winter. A reliable road turned a distant place into a manageable place. A road made time predictable. Predictability made planning possible. And planning made empire durable. Roman leaders understood this deeply. A road was not just a route from A to B. It was infrastructure for control, trade, and continuity. The Romans did not begin with shovels. They began with measurement. Surveyors marked lines, estimated gradients, and evaluated soil. They looked at slope, drainage, flood risk, and crossing points. They planned routes to reduce unnecessary climbing while preserving directness where possible. This planning phase often made the difference between a road that needed endless repair and a road that survived with routine maintenance. Direct routes are famous, but Roman engineers were practical. If straightness created instability, they adjusted. If a marsh threatened the base, they elevated or rerouted. They were not romantic about lines on maps. They were realistic about ground conditions. Roman roads endured because they were layered systems. At the bottom came a prepared foundation. Above it, compacted layers of stone and aggregate spread loads and resisted deformation. The top surface varied by region, traffic, and available materials, stone paving in some areas, hardened gravel in others. Think of it as engineering by hierarchy. Big stones for structure. Smaller aggregate for distribution. Finished surface for use. A single weak layer could fail. But when each layer did its job, the whole section held together through repeated stress cycles. No single secret ingredient made roads immortal. The real secret was consistent process. Water destroys roads quietly. The Romans treated water as a permanent adversary. They crowned road surfaces slightly so runoff moved away from the center. They cut side ditches. They designed embankments where needed. They watched for low points and flood-prone segments. Without drainage, even strong roads fail. Moisture weakens base layers, causes settlement, and opens cracks. With drainage, the same materials can survive far longer. Roman road durability is often described as strength. But it is just as much about moisture control. A road network is only as reliable as its weakest crossing. Rivers, streams, and seasonal channels interrupted land routes. Roman engineers solved this with bridges, culverts, and causeways. Their goal was continuity. A road that fails at crossings fails as a system. Stone arch bridges spread loads efficiently and resisted compression well. Culverts moved water under embankments. Even simple structures reduced washouts and route closures. Continuity meant fewer delays, fewer detours, and more confidence in travel times. In logistics, confidence is currency. Roads were physical assets, but they were also operational systems. Milestones marked distances and often named officials associated with construction or repair. Relay stations supported movement of messages, officials, and supplies. Travelers could estimate progress. Administrators could map effort. This is easy to overlook. A road without operational support is just stone. A road plus wayfinding plus service points becomes a transport network. The Romans built networks, not isolated tracks. Even the best road decays without care. Roman durability came from maintenance as much as initial construction. Damaged surfaces were patched. Drainage was cleared. Edges were stabilized. Heavy-use segments got attention before total failure. Preventive maintenance costs less than emergency reconstruction. That logic is modern, but the Romans practiced a version of it. Many ancient roads disappeared where maintenance collapsed, not where engineering was inherently poor. Engineering starts the story. Governance continues it. Not every province had the same stone, climate, or labor patterns. Roman builders adapted materials and methods to local conditions. Some roads were heavily paved. Others used compacted aggregates suitable for expected loads. In wetter regions, drainage emphasis increased. In rocky regions, quarry logistics shaped design. This flexibility mattered. Standard principles, local execution. That balance made expansion possible without reinventing everything from scratch. Reliable roads reduced friction in daily life. Merchants could forecast travel time more accurately. Farmers reached markets more consistently. Military supply became more structured. Administrative coordination improved. Lower transport uncertainty improves trade. Better trade grows towns. Growing towns reinforce routes. Infrastructure and economy strengthen each other in loops. Roads were not just military tools. They were market infrastructure. When people ask why Roman roads lasted, the answer is not mystery. They lasted where design respected terrain, where drainage functioned, where maintenance continued, and where routes remained relevant enough to justify repair. Some vanished under new cities. Some were quarried for stone. Some became foundations for later roads. Survival is uneven, but the engineering pattern is visible across regions. Durability was not an accident. It was policy plus process plus upkeep. So as this quiet journey ends, remember, the Roman road was not a miracle. It was disciplined work repeated at scale. Survey carefully. Build in layers. Control water. Maintain continuously. Adapt locally. Those rules are old, but they still sound modern because good infrastructure principles do not age quickly. Rest now. Let the road stretch out into the dark, steady and silent, carrying the weight of centuries.